Now for a movie rant break, One Up presents a movie rant break. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the movie rant break. Miss y'all. I've been busy with the holidays and this January just trying to get my life situated to have a successful year. I hope everybody's doing the same, but we about to hop back in on this motherfucking review game. Today, episode 174, we got Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. I have reviewed the first film, Knives Out rather. Check that out. It's a quick little review I do by myself as well. Yeah, you heard correctly. Today I'm here doing this review by myself, just chilling today during a snowstorm. But let me get into this motherfucking review. Directed by Rian Johnson, written by Rian Johnson, starring Daniel Craig, Edward Norton, Janelle Monáe, Catherine Hahn, Leslie Odom Jr., Jessica Henwick, Madeline Klein, Kate Hudson, Dave Bautista. Cinematography, Steve Yedlin. Edited by Bob Duskay. Music by Nathan Johnson. Was distributed by Netflix. Originally released in theaters for a month, November 23rd, 2022. And then released on December 23rd, a month later, 2022. Got a runtime of 139 minutes. Budget, $40 million. Box office, $15 million. Now, it seems like there's a big deficit, but remember, it is a Netflix film, so the fact that they're even making that kind of little bonus, you could say, box office sales is really good for them. The reception for this, IMDb gave it a 7.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes a 92%. Metacritic gave it an 81%. Now, brief breakdown. About a billionaire inviting all his closest friends to his private island for a weekend to hang out and solve his, air quotes, fake murder that he has constructed for them to solve. Just want to say, love an island setting. And I will say, being that this film does take place May 2020, which for everybody who doesn't know is during COVID, and they make it very known it's during COVID. People are doing Zoom calls and are in quarantine and shit like that. But this is the first time I've enjoyed seeing COVID. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but I didn't mind using this scenario of time to like utilize people's and characters just like intentions and motivations. Like all the people that get invited on the island are very excited to go on that, or they're extra excited to go on the island because they've been in confinement and the world's been kind of weird. And I thought the way that they showed COVID was kind of tasteful, if you will. Like they wear a mask, but then they get sprayed in the mouth with this shit when they get to the island. They lose the mask, and they're like, one chick has like a fake mask on, and they're not, it's not preachy, you know. And I think this goes with anything that you're trying to show in a film. Just make sure it's not preachy. If you want to make, you know, any type of race joke, just make it funny. You know, if you're trying to use something for setting, use it for setting. You don't have to have these underlying motives. So they did a good job, and I didn't mind the setting of time that they used, which was COVID, which I fucking hated that time of the world. So that, which was surprising to see, it was done tastefully, because most films like to be all preachy about it. But moving on from that, I just wanted to address that. The film started with a mini mystery in itself, because this is like a whodunit film, right? Like Clue. Now, early on in the film, there's these invitations, these boxes that get sent out. And I thought it was cool because it kind of had a mini mystery within the first 5 minutes. There's this box, this wooden box that has a special button to open, and there's all these little puzzles to get down to the center or the bottom of this box to get these invitations to go to the island. And it just kind of had me really curious to see who the character was that sent these boxes. It was the rich guy played by Ed Norton. And just that in itself just kind of had me interested already, like a mystery within a mystery kind of. And the box was really well designed, in fairness. It was really intricate. And I'm glad one of the characters opened the riddled box with a hammer, because I probably would have done that after a certain amount of time, because I don't particularly like these little puzzles that they were trying to solve, and they were all on the phone trying to solve them, which was cool. I liked the whole scene. But I'm glad they showed someone opening the box with a fucking hammer, because let's be real, most people would have done that. The development of characters overall was really interesting and dope, and I thought the development in the last Knives Out film was pretty good, but this one had like a flashback sequence and things leading up to the event that was happening. It was just kind of maybe really I gave a fuck about the characters. I was really invested in it, and I thought the film was really cleverly written, and that goes for both Knives Out, the original, and Glass Onion. But it's just really, really clever, and they both had this theme, obviously, not obviously, but this theme of a murder taking place around a bunch of people that want a rich man's money. But I thought this sequel kept it fresh and had a lot of unexpected twists. For instance, the twin sister twist was really interesting, and I think I didn't see that coming. I don't know if anyone did see that coming, because I definitely didn't. And I thought it was interesting the murder took place off the island, and there's like a fake murder, and then like a fake murder within, or someone who's what is it? Addie? I think it's Addie is her name. She gets shot, but then she's not really dead. They put hot sauce all over her. Or Andy, excuse me. Andy is her name. It's really her sister, but there's all this convolution within this idea that there was supposed to be a fake murder, but there was a murder that happened already. Then there's a murder that happens there at the island, and then like another one potentially happens but doesn't. It's just kind of crazy, and it took a completely different angle than the first one. And a lot of times that can make a sequel be shitty, but in this case, I thought it was dope. And you can't hate an island setting. I always fuck with that. And I thought the first Knives Out film, the killer became very clear mid-film. It was Chris Evans. He was rocking with the nurse or whatever that was closest to the author in the first film. And mid-film, he's like, it's just really clear. I mean, it was to me that it was Chris Evans' character in the first one. Sorry to spoil that if you haven't seen it, but tough shit. And this one, I wasn't sure. Like the beginning, I thought, Ed Norton might have had, the rich guy, he was going to commit the murder because these people are kind of trying to inhibit him potentially of making a bunch of dirty money, and he had a lot of motivation. But the whole thing was like everybody had motivation to like fucking kill everybody, kind of. And the whole time I was guessing, who could it be? At one point, I thought it was the stoner dude that was just randomly on the island. I was like, maybe it's him. And they're just not thinking about this random guy. Like, no one knows who the fuck this is. And they didn't even address that in the film, which I thought was funny. But the end with Daniel Craig's character has like a moment with the stoner that was kind of funny. But yeah, I didn't really know who it was. I mean, it kind of made it more clear it was Ed Norton, but then it was just like, it was bouncing around the whole time. I wasn't sure, basically. Long story long. Small observation I had about the film, the Duke's character, which was Dave Bautista's girlfriend, she was a really interesting character. And I talked about the development, and I wanted to address a little observation where her name is Whiskey, which sounds like a stripper name of sorts, maybe, but maybe not. Maybe I'm out of pocket. But her name's Whiskey, but I'm pretty sure it was silver tequila that she was drinking. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Don Julio. I'm not 100%, but I just thought that was a funny thing. Like, her name is Whiskey. I don't know if they did it on purpose, probably, maybe not, but little shit like that I noticed. And her character actually surprised me because, and part of the, like, she seems like this gold digging, stupid bitch, essentially. But when she talks to Andy in one of the flashback sequences, which is another part in how they really locked in some of the development aspects of the film and the characters, where they're on like this walk on the island, and Whiskey starts talking, and she's kind of intricate, and she's kind of eloquent, and she's got goals, and she's well spoken, and it really threw me off because she was kind of a really cool character that face value you thought was just a hoe because you see her fucking Miles, Ed Norton's character, and that's what I'm saying. Like, the flashbacks did a really strong justice to like bringing things to light slowly and getting the real on what the fuck was going on and seeing who people really were and who people really weren't, which I really like to see that in a film because it's kind of like in life, you know, everybody wants to judge everybody. Oh, that person's probably like this, that, like that. And then like you find out that they're not. And in this film, they kind of just play on that premise where you think something is a certain way or this character is this certain way, but then you find out it's way different. And I love that. It makes the watch really interesting, and I fuck with that. And fast forwarding to the end, there was a sequence that I thought, you know, kept it real, so to speak. There's the napkin that was kind of, there's this napkin that had this idea on it for what kind of caused all this wealth, and it's kind of what the movie is surrounded around if you haven't seen it. And Andy's got the napkin, or I think her name's Helen, her twin sister technically, but she's like, I got the napkin because it was basically going to allow them to fuck up his whole wealth situation and bring down his empire and shift all the power to everybody else, or her rather. But she had this napkin that was so valuable, right? And she's waving it in front of Miles, the super wealthy dude that committed the murder of Duke. Duke died. And she's waving it around. And if it's so valuable, why are you waving around? He just torches it with his fucking lighter. Like a blowtorch lighter, like the one of them motherfuckers. Boom. Torch the napkin. I was like, perfect, because that's like what would really happen. This woman thinks that she's all fucking smart and high and mighty. Look, I found this. You're ruined. Da-da-da. He's just like, shut the fuck up. Because that's like really what would happen, in my opinion. So I just appreciate the realness on that. And I appreciated what the film did for shedding the light on what the power of money does and how money has power over people in the world we live in. I mean, this guy Miles, he lied, stole, and killed his own friend, being Duke. And all the witnesses, friends lie for this guy because he has all the money and has helped all of them. And that makes, like, they all betrayed Andy, who was the one that actually got murdered by Miles previously. Miles actually committed 2 murders, tried to commit 3. He killed Duke and Andy. And you got all these other individuals, you know, air quote friends that are just, being manipulated by this fucking asshole to do whatever he wants, vouch for whatever he wants. And it's all for money. They betrayed their friend. All these other friends betrayed their friend for Andy. And Miles was the outlier, right? Andy brought Miles in, but then all the other people, I mean, they all became friends, so to speak, but they all end up betraying Andy for money, even though the truth was Andy came up with this idea that created all the wealth for Miles. And it's just, I like how they touched on the corruption of people, even the, you know, air quote, again, sorry for the air quotes for real friends. You know what I mean? Like people will fucking drop you in a second if they can make gains. And I know it what it's just something that I've seen so much in my life, and I'm sure y'all have seen it too. And it's really frustrating. And I like when things are portrayed this way, and it really shows how twisted people are. Like, because some people will just do it right in your face, and they do it in this film. They're just like, "Fuck you, sorry, I don't know what you're talking about." And it's just the world we live in, unfortunately. But you always hope that people aren't like that, but unfortunately they are. But I did appreciate the sentiment of showing that, and I did appreciate the sentiment of them flipping at the end, being like, "Nah, fuck you, dude," like, and kind of aligning with their core values more so. So that was kind of a cool dynamic, and the statement with Miles, rich motherfucker, the irony of him, in one of the flashback sequences, and he says it in the current time or whatever of the film, where he's like, he says his inspiration, he wanted to be mentioned in the same breath as the Mona Lisa. And it was a cool way that they incorporated him achieving that, because he had it in his house because he was so rich he could like rent it basically. But it ended up being where it got destroyed in his house. So now they'll be like, "Oh, Miles Braun, I think his name, Miles Braun is the one that destroyed the Mona Lisa." So I thought that was another cleverly written, ironic thing that they made possible in the film, and it was funny. It was dope. Now, I like this film. I think it was a lot better than the original, or not a lot. It was a little better than the original. I haven't seen the other one in a while. I was gonna rewatch it, but I didn't. But I remember the first one I liked. It just was, I think, the setting, and it was I think it felt more over the top and satirical. I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. But I like this one a little better nonetheless. And I think the enjoyability and being interested in how the story was being told, I enjoyed more with this one. Now, I think both of them aren't great on a rewatch, being that you know what the fuck happens. And that's kind of like the thing with those films. You see them once and you're like, okay, not rewatching that again. I mean, I would if I was showing it to someone, or someone wanted to watch it that hadn't seen it. But like literally, there's no reason to watch a whodunit film twice, in my opinion, unless it's been years and you maybe forgot who did it. But yeah, and so that aside from rewatchability, it's like, I think it would. I want to see a sequel, being that you can only watch these once. Kind of, I want another sequel with this detective that Daniel Craig played. I forget the name of his detective. What the fuck was his name? I can't remember. But anyways, his accent in the first one was, I thought he broke in and out of it. But in this one, I thought he did better. And I thought he held it down as a character in this one, as kind of I think he is the only recurring character. And it's just shout out to him for holding it down. And I think it would be cool to see another one, because like I said, you watch it once and you can't really watch it again. You know what happens. So definitely welcome a second one. And I hope they do. I like this Knives Out mystery shit. They're doing a good job, in my opinion. And yeah. So, one other thing too. A lot of interesting cameos. Like a ton of them. Like Serena Williams was in there. Ethan Hawke, Hugh Grant. There was a bunch of random ones, but they did a lot of random cameos that were in for 20 seconds, like 10 of them maybe. Go look them up. There's a bunch of them. I think even Joseph Gordon-Levitt or something did the dong noise. Some shit like that. It sounds ridiculous because it is, but that's one of the cameos, if I'm not mistaken. The dong on the island every hour, I think it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Not 100%, but I'm pretty fucking sure. Go check. Anyways, lot of interesting cameos. Cool film. They said low rewatchability. Enjoyed it. I definitely suggest everybody to go watch it. Obviously, if you listen to the review, I fucking spoiled the fuck out of the entire film. Apologies if I did. But yeah, I'm going to hit this film with a 7.1. And that's going to be Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. And I appreciate everybody for listening to this episode. I hope everybody doing super well and the new year has been treating you all right. I know a lot of people in my life, anyways, is going through some rough spells towards the end of last year and into this year. So I hope things, the tide's changing and we can stay positive and healthy and just get shit done and enjoy our lives. Know what I mean? All right, cool. Appreciate everybody. Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, 7.1. Appreciate y'all. Catch you next episode. Deuces.